I was just in Las Vegas for a day to help lead a summit of Prosecutors Against Gun Violence. That's the national coalition of prosecutors I co-founded and co-chair on the mass shootings that now seem to be the new norm. We spent a day in Las Vegas almost precisely 2 years after the deadliest mass shooting in American history. One of our speakers was a former member of the Sheriff's Department in Las Vegas. He described in harrowing detail how he was at that event, the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival, how he immediately leapt into action, desperately transporting victims in the back of his pickup truck to a nearby emergency room, only to get the call on the way to the hospital that his daughter, still back at the festival, had been shot. He continued to the hospital, helped transfer the victims he was helping, then raced back past barricades to find his daughter, who'd been paralyzed by the gunshots she'd suffered. He reported to us that, miraculously, his daughter was now walking again. Not even a day after our summit came the news of another mass shooting, this time in Kansas. Now, to be sure, mass shootings are not the most prevalent form of gun violence in America. Suicide is. And the shootings that are all too common in inner cities across our nation are far more frequent and deadly. Still, since 2012, there have been more than 2,000 mass shootings counted as incidents in which 4 or more people got shot. 2,000. That's nearly one for every day in the last 7 years. So Prosecutors Against Gun Violence convened with elected and senior prosecutors from 30 cities and counties across America, from blue states and red states, with leading national experts. We came together to get the facts and the science around mass shootings, and with that data in mind, to develop our approach to legislative advocacy, both at the federal and state levels, to develop non-legislative steps we can take in our own jurisdictions, to collaborate on best practices across jurisdictional lines. It was an extraordinary summit, packed with lessons for all of us. For me, some of the most important insights revolved around the people who perpetrate mass shootings. What does and does not trigger their actions? We learned how rarely people with mental illness commit these horrible acts, and how blaming mental illness misses the point. We also learned, though, how frequently people confronting a momentary crisis do perpetrate these shootings. We learned about the role of the internet in radicalizing domestic terror. And many of these events are, in fact, about extremism and white supremacy. And we learned how to grapple with threats so these tragedies never happen. As we fashion solutions, we do face real challenges. To take just one example, Las Vegas' sheriff pointed out to us how the multiple high-capacity magazines the shooter had made the carnage possible, enabling him to spray the crowd with hundreds and hundreds of bullets. But in Washington, despite the efforts of some to take action to ban those magazines, I wrote the law in LA to do that 20 years ago, momentum has stopped. We're committed to changing that. Prosecutors have credibility with Republicans and Democrats alike, and we've been to Capitol Hill before. Much of our discussion also focused on what we can do locally to deter mass shootings. For instance, my office is training police and members of the public on how to obtain gun violence restraining orders that temporarily take guns out of the hands of people who pose an imminent threat to themselves or others. I'm Los Angeles City Attorney Mike Feuer. Thanks for watching.